the stage saint versus the executioner at home. To understand the mind of a communal narcissist, we must first deconstruct the idea that every narcissist is openly arrogant and shallow. Narcissism is driven by an organizing principle, the relentless search for narcissistic supply. While the grandiose type seeks supply in money or status, and the hidden covert type seeks it in victimhood and pity, the communal narcissist has found the ultimate goldmine: moral superiority. He convinces himself and tries to convince the world that he is the most helpful, ethical, and altruistic person alive. The difference from the covert vulnerable narcissist lies in their posture toward the world. The covert type lives in a state of latent humiliation and envies those who are successful. In contrast, the communal narcissist is a stage activist. He doesn't feel like a victim. He feels like the savior. He seeks prominent positions in churches, NGOs, or volunteer groups, not for the cause itself, but for the public flattery and the validation that he is enlightened. The trap for the woman in a relationship with him is the contrast. Behind closed doors, in the environment where he feels hierarchically superior, the mask falls. That greatness of soul seen by strangers disappears, giving way to icy disdain and a complete lack of empathy toward the person who should receive his support the most. Practical and detailed examples. Example 1, private incoherence. He spends all Saturday organizing a community effort to renovate a neighbor's house, posting photos with captions about doing good without looking at whom. When he gets home, he finds you exhausted and you ask for help with a simple task, like changing a light bulb. His response is aggressive and disdainful. I spend the day taking care of entire families who have nothing, and you want to bother me with a light bulb. You are spiritually small and only think of yourself. Example 2, difference from the covert type in conflict. Imagine you forgot to prepare dinner. A covert narcissist would react with dramatic victimhood, saying you don't love him and that he is always forgotten. However, the communal narcissist uses virtue to humiliate you. I dedicate my life to feeding the poor on the streets, and my own wife doesn't have the Christian charity to make a plate of food for her husband. You need to learn what it means to be a being of light. Example 3, virtue marketing. He decides to make a donation to a sick child. Instead of it being an anonymous act, he insists on posting the receipt and a moving text about his mission on Earth. If you question whether that money might be needed for an overdue household bill, he uses moral superiority to silence you in front of friends. It's sad to see how materialistic and attached to money you are, while I only think about saving lives. Example for the false listener. In a support group or at church, he is praised as an incredible listener. But at home, if you try to vent about exhaustion or pain, he yawns, looks at his phone, or interrupts you to tell a terrible case he handled that day. Your pain is nothing compared to what I hear every day. You need more gratitude and less complaining. He only has ears for those who can give him the trophy of being the best counselor. Example 5, moral envy. If you decide to start a volunteer project on your own, he doesn't celebrate. On the contrary, he starts looking for flaws in the institution you chose, saying that no one there is honest, or that you are just doing it to show off. He cannot stand for you to receive the moral credit that he believes is exclusively his. Example 6, the negligent saint. He is the first to offer to take a neighbor to the doctor, but if you fall ill, he complains about the time he is losing and how it prevents him from carrying out his more important missions. He sees caring for his partner as a burden, while caring for strangers is an investment in his public image. Moral superiority as a weapon of silencing. In communal narcissism, abuse does not typically come through obvious insults. but through a hierarchy of values that the narcissist creates. The organizing principle here is using virtue to invalidate your existence. While a typical narcissist just wants to be right, the communal type wants to have the purest soul. He uses his good causes to create an environment where your basic human needs seem petty, selfish, or mundane. This mechanism is what we call moral gaslighting. He doesn't just deny facts. He denies your right to feel discomfort. If you complain about loneliness, he reminds you that there are people starving. If you ask for respect, he claims you lack the spiritual evolution to understand his mission. He places himself on such a high pedestal that any attempt to bring him back to the reality of the relationship is seen as an attack on the greater work he performs. Practical examples and silencing dialogues. Example 1. Invalidation through the cause. You try to talk about the lack of quality time together. He responds, "I am helping build a shelter for abandoned animals, and you are worried about a dinner out. Where is your compassion? You only think of shallow pleasures." Here, he transforms a legitimate, effective need into a character flaw of yours. Example to the toll of the favor. He does something good for you that you didn't ask for, like organizing your drawers. If you say you prefer doing it yourself, he explodes into martyrdom. "I try to be the best partner in the world. I dedicate my little free time to please you, and I receive ingratitude. This is why I prefer helping strangers. They value my light." Example 3. Exclusionary spirituality. He spends hours meditating or at religious meetings but neglects household bills or childcare. If confronted, he uses silencing. "You are too attached to material things. I seek peace of spirit, while you bring the chaos of the world into our home with your demands." Example for the untouchable saint. During an argument, you point out one of his lies. He shifts the blame immediately. "How dare you accuse me of that after everything I do for our community? God knows my heart, and yours is full of judgment and poison." Example 5. Punishment for lack of faith. If you are sad or depressed, instead of support, you receive a sermon. "You are like this because you don't give enough of yourself to others. If you volunteered with me, you'd see your problems are nothing. Your pain is just selfishness." Example 6. Humiliating false modesty. In public, he says, "I am nothing. I am just a servant." But at home, he demands you treat him like a king, as he is the pillar of goodness for the family, and no one can question him. At this stage, you begin to feel like a monster for wanting simple things like attention, loyalty, or partnership. Silencing happens because he has hijacked the concept of being a good person, and you feel that to disagree with him, you must accept the role of the bad person. Virtue marketing where he finds his supply. Unlike other personalities, the communal narcissist is not satisfied with just domestic obedience. He needs a devoted audience. His organizing principle is to obtain narcissistic attention, applause, and admiration through acts of ostentatious kindness. He views the community and social media as a stage where he is the absolute protagonist of virtue. The danger here is performative kindness. He doesn't help to alleviate another's pain, but to strengthen his own image as a supreme being. For him, a good deed that was not seen, filmed, or posted is a waste of time. If there is no return in the form of praise, he may show aggressive disdain for the same people he was helping seconds before. Practical examples. The photo op. He spends 15 minutes at a nursing home and takes dozens of photos with the elderly. He spends the rest of the day at home editing videos with emotional music and captions about giving one's life. If you ask him to spend 15 minutes playing with his own child, he says he is exhausted by his mission. The ostentatious donor. At a charity event, He makes sure to announce the amount of his donation, or be the first to go on stage to receive thanks. However, he would never make an anonymous donation. If there is no public recognition, he becomes bitter and begins to defame the organization. Behind the scenes rage. Observe his reaction if a post about his charity doesn't get the expected likes. He becomes irritated and takes it out on you, entering narcissistic rage. Stranger's savior versus home neglect. He answers messages from strangers at 3 a.m. with infinite patience. If you wake up feeling ill and ask for help, he complains that you are interfering with his ministry. False modesty online. He posts, "I am nothing, just an instrument of good." But if someone disagrees with him, he immediately blocks them and makes a new post about how hard it is to be a light warrior in a world of darkness. Collective triangulation and the flying monkey troop. In classic narcissism, triangulation usually occurs intimately, involving a third person to generate jealousy or insecurity. However, when dealing with the communal narcissist, this tactic gains an industrial and public scale. He doesn't pit you against a supposed mistress. He pits you against the entire community. For the communal narcissist, your value is not measured by the love he feels for you, but by how much you serve to validate the image of a saint that he has projected to the world. To maintain this facade of moral perfection, he utilizes one of the cruelest tactics of narcissistic abuse, the recruitment of flying monkeys. This term describes third parties, friends, family, neighbors, or church members whom the narcissist uses to influence, watch over, or pressure you. The ultimate goal of this troop is your social isolation. He wants to ensure that if you one day decide to tell the truth about the abuse you suffer at home, no one will believe you, because his reputation as a man of light is unshakable to those looking in from the outside. The silent defamation campaign and facade concern, unlike an obvious aggressor, the communal narcissist rarely speaks ill of you with direct aggression. He utilizes a smear campaign disguised as spiritual concern or Christian zeal. He whispers into the ears of influential people phrases like, "Please pray for my partner. She has been very unstable lately, and I have done the impossible to maintain peace, but her ingratitude has been a heavy burden on my mission." At this moment, what we call collective gaslighting occurs. When you arrive at a social or religious event, people no longer look at you as the woman you are. They look at you with pity, judgment, or an unbearable condescension. Without knowing it, you have already been diagnosed by the narcissist in front of everyone as the difficult person, the unstable one, or the wife who does not support her husband's ministry. Any natural reaction of indignation on your part when treated this way is used by him as definitive proof that he was right. See how she gets upset over nothing. Please pray for her. Practical examples of communal triangulation. Example 1. The martyr of the charity event. Imagine you are exhausted and decide not to attend a charity drive organized by him. He goes alone and, when asked about you, lets out a theatrical sigh. She preferred to stay home resting. It's sad. I wish she could find this joy in serving others that we have, but everyone has their own time for evolution. The next day, your friends call you to give moral lectures on companionship, becoming flying monkeys who demand from you the standard of holiness he imposes publicly. Example 2. The invasion of your support network. The perfect son-in-law, the communal narcissist, is a master at seducing your family. He solves your mother's problems, does unsolicited favors, and listens to her vent for hours. When you finally try to tell your own mother about his coldness and contempt behind closed doors, you are silenced. How can you complain about a man who is an angel? You are ungrateful. He does everything for us. He has stolen your safe haven through favors that served as bargaining chips to silence your pain. Example 3. The use of digital witnesses during an argument at home. While he is treating you with icy disdain, he may suddenly change his tone, pick up his phone, and send a voice note to a volunteer group. Friends, I apologize if I'm not well tomorrow. The atmosphere at home is difficult. I ask for prayers for peace. If you scream at him to stop lying, he looks at the group and says, "See what I go through? Keep praying." He creates a false historical record where he is the martyr and you are the executioner. Example 4. Triangulation with the villainous ex-wife. He frequently brings up stories of a former partner who destroyed him because she didn't understand his dedication to doing good. He uses this third figure to keep you in a state of constant hypervigilance. You begin to self-nullify and accept neglect just to prove that you are the partner of light he always deserved, falling into the trap of competing with a negative memory to secure his approval. Example 5. The counselor's ambush. He calls a meeting with close friends or community leaders to talk about the couple's crisis. In these meetings, he cries and says he only wants to see you well. The innocent flying monkeys, bought by the performance, begin to pressure you with canned phrases. You need to be more patient. Look how he suffers for you. No one is perfect. You find yourself in a tribunal where the judge and the jury were trained by the abuser to convince you that the fault is yours. The victim's awakening and the reclamation of your truth. We have reached the most critical point of our journey. After understanding the anatomy of the communal narcissist, how he infiltrates your life, uses morality to muzzle you, and recruits an army to isolate you, we must talk about your liberation process. Freedom from a relationship with a communal narcissist does not begin with a public confrontation. It starts with a silent and profound process of internal demystification. You must stop seeing the saint and start seeing the control mechanism behind the halo. Breaking cognitive dissonance. The heaviest burden you carry today is cognitive dissonance. Your brain is exhausted from trying to reconcile two images that do not fit. The man of light, whom the whole world gives a standing ovation, and the cold, impatient, and cruel man who lives with you behind closed doors. To escape this prison, you must accept a truth that hurts but sets you free. His kindness is a commodity, not a character trait. The communal narcissist is not good. He is acting good to purchase public admiration and secure the right to be abusive at home without anyone believing the victim. Once you understand that his charity toward strangers is, in reality, the toll he pays to maintain his mask of perfection, the power his holiness holds over you begins to crumble. Facing the fear of being the villain of the village. The biggest fear of a communal narcissist's partner is the community's judgment. You think, if I leave, everyone will think I am the problem, that I abandoned a wonderful man who dedicates his life to others. Understand one thing, he counts on this fear. His reputation is the wall of your cell. But here is the secret. You don't need to tear down his wall for other people. You only need to jump over the wall to save your own life. You are under no obligation to convince the flying monkeys of the truth. His true nature doesn't need to be public to be real. It only needs to be real to you. If you wait for the world to unmask him before you can leave, you will never leave. Your validation must come from within, not from the applause of neighbors who do not know the punitive silence of your living room. Practical examples of reclaiming power and confrontation. Example 1. Ending the validation of his goodness. The next time he uses a good deed to invalidate your pain, saying you are small for wanting attention while he saves the world, you will no longer argue about his charity. You will no longer say, "But you help everyone, and you don't help me." That is falling into his trap. Instead, you will say to yourself, "His charity toward strangers is his image choice. His disrespect toward me is a fact of my relationship." You separate the two. You stop asking him for permission to feel hurt. Example 2. The strategic withdrawal of the audience. A communal narcissist dies without an audience. When he starts boasting about his works at home to diminish you, do not react, do not criticize, do not praise, and do not try to point out the hypocrisy. Simply say, "It's good that you did that," and leave the room. By removing the conflict, you remove the supply. He wants you to fight against his goodness so he can label you as evil or envious. Do not give him that script. Example 3. The reality log versus the Instagram feed. This is an exercise in sanity. Start recording the contrast. On one side, write what he posted, for example, visiting orphaned children. On the other, write what happened 10 minutes before he left the house, for example. "He humiliated me because I couldn't find his keys." Seeing the discrepancy written on paper destroys the spell. You begin to realize that the Instagram man is a fictional character you are not obligated to sustain. Example 4. The gentle no that unmasks the saint. He pressures you to go to an event where he will be honored, but you are at your emotional and physical limit. You say, "I am not going today. My body needs rest." He will try moral gaslighting. "Are you against the good I do? Do you want to sabotage me?" Your response will be short and emotionless. "My absence does not prevent your work. I wish you a good event." By not entering his spiritual war narrative, you reclaim possession of your own will. Example 5. Silence in the face of the smear campaign. When you realize he is using flying monkeys to pressure you, do not try to explain yourself to them. If a friend says, "Wow, you have such an enlightened husband, you should be more grateful," simply respond, "I'm glad you have that perception of him." Everyone knows where their own shoe pinches. Do not give details. Silence is your greatest weapon against those who want to turn your life into a courtroom. Example 6. Discrete financial and logistic disconnection. Often, the communal narcissist uses family money for ostentatious donations, leaving the household in difficulty. Start monitoring and protecting what is yours. Do not announce that you are doing this. Do it in silence. The strength of the communal narcissist lies in his ability to keep you emotionally exposed while he protects himself with the armor of virtue. When you start protecting yourself in secret, the game changes.